That's terrifying.
Oh! You're in Recap Corner, Sean, and today we are watching William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist 3. And do you like that Blu-ray cover there? I think that's a nice unique Blu-ray.
It's see-through, it's not blue, it's white ray. Is this the least one I'm looking forward to?
No, not for me. I'm excited for this one.
For me, I know it's going to be complete trash compared to the original.
I wouldn't think that. This is directed by the author of the original book. They say The Exorcist 2 is trash.
Yeah, I understand.
Because I think it rehashes the original. I have no idea what the narrative is for this, but this is one of the most requested ones in terms of sequels, except Scream. I don't want it to go on, they're all in a bedroom exercising. So I know it's called The Exorcist 3, but I just want it to be a little bit different. So you're not too excited for it. None of us are. I guess because we have no idea, do we? In the end of the day, we have no idea what The Exorcist 3 is going to be like. The power of Christ compels you!
Ow. That hurt. Tom, tell the viewers what we've discovered.
So we've decided to watch the Legion director's cut as opposed to the theatrical cut.
We've read online that it's better and it's shorter actually.
And usually, I mean, we like watching director's cuts because it's more of the vision of the director as opposed to the movie studio, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, we're watching Exorcist 3 Legion.
The director's cut.
The director's cut.
Cinema rules here. Don't be mad that we're skipping The Exorcist 2. We're watching The Exorcist 3.
As recommended by everyone in the comments.
We were told to skip the second one.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not even called Exorcist 3 Legion, it's just called Legion.
In this edition, yeah. Oh, that's horrible.
Okay, so it's not.
Georgetown.
So that was a dream sequence in black and white.
Father, you mentioned the Damien Karras in your prayer for the dead.
Damien.
Yes, I did.
Father, isn't he the one who died in a fall on those steps?
Yes, that's right, Jim. 15 years ago today.
Any plans today, Joe?
This afternoon, I'm at the Flicks. It's a Wonderful Life. Do you have a favorite picture?
The Fly.
What was the murder weapon, Stedman?
Garden shears, maybe.
Front cover.
Yeah.
I want you to telex Richmond right away and most urgently for the file on the Gemini killer.
The Gemini killer's been dead for 15 years.
What is this? Why is the camera changed suddenly? Is this an added shot? Perhaps they couldn't remaster it.
My wife's mother is visiting, Father, and Tuesday night she's cooking us a carp. She buys it live, and for 3 days it's been swimming up and down in my bathtub. I haven't had a bath for 3 days. I can't go home.
What's the point in that scene there?
So far, I feel like the dialogue's been written by someone who likes
The sound of people
writing dialogue, but there's no narrative purpose to it.
Would a God who is good invent something like death?
We're gonna live forever, Bill. We're spirits. It's that kid that got killed on the dock, isn't it?
Police Boys Club. Name was Thomas Kintry. Killer drove an ingot into each of his eyes, then cut off his head. In place of his head was the head from a statue of Christ, all done up in blackface, like a minstrel show, you know.
Bloody hell.
The eyes and the mouth painted white.
I didn't think that could get any worse.
The boy had been crucified.
Okay, it's getting worse.
So I think these cuts between like the older, grainier footage must have been footage that they salvaged.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the original.
I have to confess it.
Christ forgives us all of our sins.
Only little things. Nothing. 17 of them, Father. The first was that waitress. I cut her throat and watched her bleed.
I like how that scene played out. How the screaming you thought was the laughter, but it kind of melded into screams and cries of someone that found the dead body. I like that. Bloody hell. Is that finger missing? Very different from the first film. It's like an investigation film.
I like that though. I
Yeah.
think. Because you can still have this detective then toy with his idea of faith and what he believes and so on, can't you?
We've got an autopsy on the board.
Hell.
Kintry didn't die from the decapitation. He was injected with a drug called succinylcholine. Causes immediate and total paralysis. The kid couldn't move or scream while the killer was nailing and cutting him up. The drug attacks the respiratory system. He died from slow asphyxiation.
Jeez.
I thought you told me there's nothing really wrong with you.
There isn't. With my brother, it was nerves.
You make a lot of people nervous.
Only sinners.
Everybody!
Is everything all right in here, guys?
We're fine!
Can't you pick me something up? These are all last week's editions. I've read every one of them.
They have a very strange relationship.
I was thinking about this, yeah, but it's a friendship, but then people do have relationships with their priests, don't they?
Do they?
They're old friends, I think.
He
didn't notice it, it was in the background.
Succinylcholine again.
And precisely the proper dosage to cause the paralysis.
So the prints on the oars from the crucified boy match the prints on the panel, correct?
No.
Two people?
Two different people committed these murders? Where's Julie?
I don't believe it.
Lieutenant!
I'm so sorry you were murdered, Thomas. I miss you.
I miss you too.
You know, I wonder if both of us are dreaming this.
No, Bill. I'm not dreaming.
Is that foreshadowing?
Yeah. I wonder whether there's someone in that hospital because if the priest is in there,
Surely that's another target.
What are you telling me?
He's dead.
no.
Oh. God damn it.
So that's two priests and a boy murdered. Now it's personal.
What are these?
Try and increase the emotional weight.
Father Dyer's entire blood supply, and not a drop of it spilled. All neat. There's not even a smudge on the jars.
What? How does someone get away with doing that in a hospital full of people without being noticed? It's a wonderful life.
That's the film they went to see.
Oh, it was.
Did you see anybody in the hallway?
The voice sounded like an old woman.
You saw Mrs. Clelia walking around?
I found her lying completely unconscious.
Some catatonics, some with Alzheimer's, autism.
Are you my son? You're not my son.
That's the voice.
Was it?
That's the voice that
I don't think it was.
I
It was
recognise that
sounded-
voice.
I'm the radio repairman, Mrs. Clelia.
Well, fix it.
Well, what's wrong with it?
Dead people talking.
I don't think I can fix that.
It's right here. Do you see it?
Yes, I see it.
I just knew you weren't really a radio repairman. That's a telephone I'm holding.
What's this?
It's the disturbed ward.
Bill.
Bill.
Dr. Friedman's gone ballistic, sir. I think you need to come.
How do you expect us to keep people calm?
Keep people calm. Do you want to know about keeping people calm? There's
Someone
someone
was
decapitated
murdered.
in your hospital.
You ever heard of the Gemini killer? How about the Gemini's strange M.O.? I'll remind you. Supposedly, the middle finger of the victim's left hand was always found severed. On the victim's back, we were told the killer carved out a sign of the zodiac, the Gemini symbol, the twins.
The Gemini killer, if he carved the Gemini symbol, which is the symbol of the twins, there might be two of them. That's my first guess.
The missing finger was not on the victim's left hand, but on the right. It was the index finger, this one. And the sign of the Gemini was carved not on the victim's back, but on the victim's left-hand palm. The misinformation was fed to the press in order to weed out all the crackpots who were coming in saying every day that they were the Gemini killer. 3 victims with this finger severed and the sign of the Gemini here. The victim's name's always starting with K. Father Dyer's middle name was Kevin.
How is this an Exorcist film?
Person could be
Not at all.
possessed.
Besides being priests, what might Canavan and Dyer have had in common? Where's the link?
I'm trying to find the link as well, because even that priest that died in the bed, in hospital bed,
Yeah.
he was standing at the foot of the steps as well. Remember?
Yeah, maybe they all know that case or something.
It could be that exorcism. The McNeil kid. Regan McNeil.
Regan. Did you hear that?
Come on, at this point he's just like, okay, I'm leaving. Haunted. F***ing haunted.
What?
Oh.
Will you give this to Father, please, Lieutenant? I gotta run.
Oh.
Joe and Damien Karras were very close. Joe was also a friend of the McNeils.
Canavan had my job back then.
He gave Damien permission to investigate the case. Damien Gave our School of Linguistics a tape he wanted them to analyze for him. The voice of the McNeil kid. The tape was really English in reverse. But the expert who figured that out was Kindry's mother. This is impossible.
You were right.
No, her.
Oh, it was her. I was thinking it was the other one.
Do you remember coming in here and touching those jars? Why did you touch them, Mrs. Glennie?
That radio isn't mine. Mine is newer.
That man in the isolation tank. You know, the one you looked in on? Well, the police brought him in here 15 years ago. Total amnesia. Police brought him in here 15 years ago.
Was he just rehearsing what he
Yeah,
was
that's
saying
what I was
to him?
thinking, yeah.
He's just panicking because of what's happening.
That man in the isolation tank. You know, the one you looked in on?
Yes.
He ended up catatonic. Completely withdrawn.
I don't believe what he's saying.
Recently, about 6 weeks ago, he slowly started to come out of it. And then all of a sudden, he got violent. He says he's the Gemini killer.
It's the doctor. It's the doctor.
It's him, do you reckon?
Yeah, it has to be the doctor. You know what I mean?
Got a new scene here. In fact, all of the scenes with this guy have been new or added.
What was that?
I want the file on that man.
What did he
This
say?
file is thin, Dr. Temple. No age, no description of what he was wearing. Was he dressed like a priest?
Like a priest?
Were there any signs of injuries, blood, lacerations?
That would be in the file.
It is not in the file! Father Karras, he was my best friend. I loved him. 15 years ago, he jumped or was pushed to his death down that long flight of steps. I watched him. I think the man in cell 11 is Damien Karras.
Damien. From the first film.
Who are you? No one. I can do imitations. Listen.
That's what Legion says in the Bible.
Nice.
Are you Damien Karras?
I am the Gemini killer.
The Gemini is dead.
No. Not quite. Remember Karen? I killed her. I kept her breast in my freezer for a time. I'm a saver.
What?
Yes, I killed the black boy by the river.
How? You're locked up.
I kill at random. That's the thrill of it.
No, that's what you want them to believe. The doctor wants him to believe that he's killing them.
The priests were different. I was obliged to settle a score on behalf of a friend. Decapitated heads can continue to see for approximately 20 seconds.
Oh.
So, when I have one that's gawking, I always hold it up so that it can see its body.
Ah! God, that's terrifying.
Do you dance?
This is a really long scene. It must have changed dramatically from the initial one.
Poor Father Dyer. A bit of the old succinylcholine, a 3-foot catheter, moves through the vein from the crease under the arm into the vein that leads into the heart. Then you hold up the legs and squeeze the blood manually into the tube from the arms and the legs.
But who was the last person ever to see him?
Brother Fane. He was left to dress the body and seal up the coffin. No one ever saw him again.
And Jesus said to the man who was possessed, "What is your name?" And he answered, "Legion, for we are many."
That's the line, yeah.
Ah! How did she not see him? She was literally standing over him that whole entire time.
I'd be nervous too if someone was decapitated in my place of work.
She was slit down the middle, cut open, and all her vital organs were removed. Then the killer stuffed her body with other materials and sewed her back up.
Ah! The doctor! He's dead.
Well, there I was.
I need to
So
know where he's
awfully
from.
dead in that electric chair. There was still so much killing to do, and there I was without a body. So unfair.
Without a body.
It's Wormtongue.
But then,
Lord of the Rings.
along came the master. He thought my work should continue. But
He's possessed.
in
He's
this
saying.
body,
I don't
Is
know.
he or is he mad?
Is he?
in this body,
Okay.
in particular, in fact, an exorcism, I think, in which your friend, Father Karras, expelled certain parties from the body of a child. Certain parties were not pleased. The master devised this pretty little scheme as a way of getting back, using the body of this
I get what you mean with
saintly
exposition.
priest as an instrument of my work.
How can I believe that you're the Gemini killer?
Oh, you are issuing a clear invitation to the dance.
If people are dying in that hospital, and he's saying he's the Gemini man, why haven't they
I
relocated
don't think
him?
I'll ever really be convinced until I know how you managed to get out of the cell.
Yeah.
Who helps you?
Just friends, old friends. I sometimes have dreams of a rose, and then falling down a long flight of steps.
That was at the beginning.
Tell the press that I am the Gemini lieutenant. Final warning.
No.
Now he falls asleep again.
I'm tired.
It was a great monologue.
Damien.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. No, it's not, because it's not the same actor. No!
How do you get out of here?
Old friends. Old friends. I'm a traveling man. One who moves.
Is that the one that said, "Are you my son"?
Yeah.
Or was that the radio woman?
I have no idea. Oh!
Who is that? Oh, it's the radio woman.
What the hell? First time we've seen something supernatural, anyway.
Yeah. Oh. Who's that?
Yeah, this kid's gonna get...
It's a light.
Honey! God almighty! What the hell do you think you're doing? Are you crazy? What on earth is the matter with you?
Oh, you are issuing a clear invitation to the dance.
Julie.
Huh?
Hello?
His wife.
Uh-huh. Okay, sweetheart.
She's talking to him, but he's not.
That was Bill. There's a nurse coming over with a package.
Great.
Was she talking to someone else?
That sounded like him.
Get in the car. Go around the back.
Oh, hi, Dad. Mother, Daddy's home.
What's this? I'm so tired.
Oh, hi, Stevie. Yeah, how'd it go?
Julie!
I opened the door for the woman.
Yeah, I can go out.
She faints. And then when she wakes up, she says, "When is it bedtime? Please help me."
Catatonics are so easy to possess. I wanted you to see this.
Oh! What happened?
Wasted effort. Don't worry. We'll get her.
Pray for me, Damien. You're free.
Oh! Okay. I like that ending.
I like that.
There's a lot of stuff that I like about this. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff
I
that's a bit...
am really just intrigued as to what the differences are between the original and this version we've just watched.
Yeah.
I really, really like this film.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really do. I think the first thing that you've got to talk about or mention when you watch this is that quite clearly, and I just read up on it, 25 years this took to make this and release this director's cut.
Yeah.
So there's clearly an issue with like the footage there, the quality of the footage. It is clearly not easily being remastered.
No,
compared
hasn't
to the,
aged well, those extra clips.
Compared to the original footage. Sometimes that can take you out of it and you don't want it to. You want it to be a seamless transition. But the stuff that was cut, the dialogue for me, the interaction in those scenes with him and the Gemini killer in that cell, the dialogue is awesome. I really like it. I think for me it parallels Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs. It's that kind of cut. Now we don't get enough, I don't think, of Kinderman, the main character, and his reaction or shots of his face where he can emote in response to the killer. But I thought those interactions were great, and they were what made the film. It was almost that kind of old school detective thriller as opposed to the kind of horror that we got from the first one, yet it was still questioning those important themes of faith in the Catholic Church and guilt and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's something about like the philosophy of it and the character, the main guy, and his relationship with the case that I think's awesome. Now, I don't think the film is tense enough. It could be more suspenseful. And I wanted more of the supernatural, because there were points where we were thinking, is this just a killer now? Is it even an exorcist? There's no exorcism in it. But considering the start that we got with that murder in the confession booth, you don't actually see much gore at all. If a director directs their script, sometimes they're very fond of like the language that they themselves have written. There's a few scenes in the very beginning where the dialogue, I understand it's meant to be conversational, but it's almost so out there. You're like,
it's aware.
It's
aware of itself.
It's aware of itself in a way. Once he's in the monologues at the end, it's fantastic. But the initial dialogue, it takes a while to get going. But I liked it, man. Yeah. What do you think, Sean?
I think all your points are valid. I don't disagree with any of them. It just feels to me that with Legion, it's a mixture of both the theatrical cut and his vision, and it doesn't gel together. I feel like it's two films in one. A lot of scenes and elements of this film seem very out of place. Especially the woman crawling across the ceiling. That's the first supernatural thing we.
It's almost like, oh god, we need to put something like the first Exorcist had in there.
Yeah, something interesting, visually interesting.
Now, is this disjointed narrative, is that due to the 25-year gap and the footage that he perhaps didn't have?
Potentially. People film the film with their vision in mind. Everything else that changes is changed in post. So if he had his original vision, he would have filmed that original vision. Maybe he lost footage in those 25 years. Yeah, my main point is it feels like it's almost tugging at itself. Trying to be one thing and trying to be another. It's kind of bittersweet because what I do like, and I only kind of started to understand it towards the end of the film, the speeches in the cells were brilliant.
Can we just take a moment to just highlight his performance, especially the fact that he was full on in the camera. I just loved that shot.
Face on.
I really did think that. Some people I feel like would find that jarring and out of place, but I really like that.
Yeah, definitely. The reason why I feel it's bittersweet is because it was incredible.
I think,
but the quality of the footage was jarring.
Yeah, and that was unfortunate.
Yeah, but also it has so many great monologues, but then later on in the film there's someone crawling across the ceiling. Like, give us a tone that stick to a tone you're looking for. The one thing that I absolutely hated, was the fact that it wasn't the same actor. Damien wasn't the same actor. But again, it's bittersweet because the guy gave a brilliant performance. But the inconsistency for me.
But again, it's 15 years as well.
Brings me
so
out of it, you know?
I see what you mean there. You're always going to get those in any sequel, aren't you? Some kind of inconsistencies with performances sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. But I did like the fact that it took it in a different direction rather than just a standard exorcism, and it was a detective story at the end of the day. And I also like the fact that the bold decision and not to do a bloody exorcism at the end.
The ending was good. I like the ending.
The ending kind of saved it for me. And this is going back to what people say, is that an average film with a great ending is a great film, but a great film with a bad ending is a bad film.
And I think the setup here is what we were a little bit confused at one point, weren't we? We didn't really get it at one point until towards the end with Damien, the Gemini killer, who was who,
it was a bit messy.
It was a bit jarring, wasn't it? Which, we worked out in the end, which was fine. And maybe you guys worked out quicker than we did.
I feel, though, that it would work better as a book, and that it probably did.
Yeah.
He wrote the book, but the fact that he had to exposition pretty much everything in every person's piece of dialogue, it can lose audiences in terms of following the narrative, and this if you miss someone's name, then you're lost for a good chunk of the movie. It's almost like he took pages from his book and slapped it down onto the script, and he didn't really translate it. I'll rate this a 6.8.
In the end, I think this film's going to grow on me, and it's definitely one I want to watch again. The first film is more simplistic.
Yeah.
And I do think it's directed better.
And it kind of benefits from that simplicity.
It does benefit from that simplicity, but there is something about this one that's just intriguing.
There's a lot of lore, if you can call it lore,
yeah.
that you can dive into.
But I'd probably give it overall a 7.5 at the moment, and that sounds pretty high, but I think it deserves that.
Let us know what you think of this film, if you agree with any of our points, or if you have anything else to add. You know, we're not experts in terms of the history of the making of this cut.
Because we went into this film knowing nothing
at all
about it. There were jokes on us for thinking there was an exorcism in it.
Yeah, I even thought the original girl was going to be in it as well, but like the video if you liked this review. Subscribe if you're not already. And
we'll see you next time.
Yeah, hit the notification bell as well. Cheers. Bye.